Yes, I know.
So everybody make Martha feel welcome. We're so glad to have you here. And we have next month on the 5th, we have a guest speaker, Hal Crossley. He is from the International Committee of Jewish and Christian Relations, I think it is. Anyways, that's on the 5th, and he's a good speaker, so tell a friend. And I've had a few people ask me about how are things going with my vision, and so far the prognosis is still the same. I appreciate all your prayers, and I'll keep you posted. But I do want you to know if things continue to go as they are, the class probably won't go more than at the most a couple more months, because it gets more and more difficult for me to cook and more difficult for me to write the notes of the class. And appreciate all of your suggestions on how we can modify the class, but I really believe that the class, the way it is really visually oriented, and to take away that element, would radically change things in here. And I think it would probably be better when we reach that point is just to close shop and move on to other projects. And my radio program will still be going forward as far as I know. Richard is still looking forward to that. And I think most of us who listen to KDAR on Saturday are looking forward to different programming too. It can be anything but all those vitamin commercials. So, and I was kind of hoping John would be here today, because he was where we're going to do he's going to do be my announcer.
He's at a funeral in Washington.
Okay, well, we'll be in prayer for him about that. Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. And so he's going to be the announcer, and so you'll hear both of us on there. Say, well, those two guys, when they get together. Anyways, okay. Today the food we have is a Jewish dessert. Desserts are all popular ones. We have a lemon coconut loaf with cream cheese filling. I know Doug, Ed doesn't like that, so we just...
Powdered sugar?
Anyways, yeah. Anyways, this is a traditional cake. I always like to point that out. This is a traditional recipe. So this is not like the French recipes or the modern American recipes where the cake is very light and fluffy. These are heavier cakes. So, anyways, to make this cake, you're going to start off with putting your granulated sugar, butter, a couple of eggs in a large bowl, and you're going to whip them until they become creamy. Then you're going to add some milk, some lemon juice, a couple tablespoons of lemon juice in there, and some zest, about a tablespoon of zest. My wife has a really nice, you know what the lemon zest is? Yeah, there you go. Okay, when you make zest, you're going to take either a citrus of some sort, in this case it's a lemon, and it has you can use any kind of grater, but the real zest graters are very fine graters. And you just go across it, and you'll just put out a little teeny peel, kind of like you see in marmalade. You know, the little teeny pieces in marmalade? Well, that's kind of a zest peel, okay? So you're going to take about a tablespoon of lemon zest, and that gets mixed into the egg and sugar butter mixture. then you're going to, now I didn't do anything special with the flour and the baking powder and salt. You could sift them together, but I don't really find it necessary. Some of the recipes do it, but I didn't. I put them all in at the same time, so, I mean, they're getting mixed in with a blender, so isn't that close enough? A high-speed blender. I think, you know, when you sift something, you're trying to get it mixed together better, but with the modern high-speed blenders, I just don't see how it's going to make any difference. So that gets, now you're going to put I think it was about 3 cups. Let me check here. Is that much? No, 1 3/4 cups of flour, and just a little bit of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then you've got and those get blended into. And I always put just a little bit of even though the blender is really doing a good job, I put just a little bit of flour in at a time, and that's all-purpose flour. And I just put a little bit in at a time, let it get blended in, a little bit more, let it get blended in. And then once that's done, took this cooking dish, and I put in about half of the batter in the bottom. Now you got to make the filling. The filling consists of coconut, flaked coconut, cream cheese, and powdered sugar. Mixed together, you got about 1 cup of it, and you make a layer like you were going to put on a layer of frosting over that batter. And then you pour the rest of the batter on top of it, and then it gets cooked for about 50 minutes at 350 degrees. Now my oven, the door doesn't close completely tight. So it's always a little cooler in front of the oven than it is in the back of the oven. And you can see by the cake how that happens. Isn't that interesting? Now, the oven here, it gets hot. And you've got to constantly watch it, because I put some cookies in there once, and you know, it said 8 to 10 minutes. And in 6 minutes, they were cremated. So, I mean, you know. So, anyway, it is. It's a good industrial oven, and it gets hot. It gets ready to go to work. But something a little like this, you know, you got to put it in there and watch it carefully. Okay, so then after you take it out, it cools for about a few minutes. It'll pop right out, especially if you put a little bit of Pam or some oil on the dish. It'll pop right out, and you put it on a cooling rack. You want to put it on a cooling rack so it'll cool evenly. So you're not going to get the hot right out of the oven cakes that you guys are used to. This one had to cool. And we're going to make a little bit of a glaze. And what I've done here is I've taken, the recipe actually called for about 1/2 cup of the powdered sugar, but what I've done, I've taken a little bit more, probably close to 1 cup here, and it says you can use either whole milk or half and half. And you start pouring it in there until it starts to get liquefied. And what you're looking for is it to kind of be almost like a sauce, almost like a little bit of a gravy. You don't want it just to be water, but you want it to be a little bit saucy. You can kind of jiggle it, kind of, oh yeah, it looks a little bit like sauce. Okay, and then this is going to be our glaze. We're going to put that all over it. What's the difference between a glaze and a sauce, huh? Oh. Run into these kind of questions. And then once we get that in there, we're going to sprinkle a little bit of coconut across it. Top it off.
I don't We're not gonna take any more of this, right? All that sugar.
We're salivating.
Well, if you think it's too rich, I mean, you know, you can always take a smaller piece.
Gosh, I thought, no, you can't. Wrong.
You know, and the amount of coconut you put on it, you know, usually when I put this stuff on there, it's kind of to make it even and to give it more aesthetic. Because you got coconut in there already. So, okay.
The diet starts tomorrow?
The diet starts tomorrow, all right. So I just want to take a quick picture of this, because usually
This is on the North Beach stuff.
Not the South Beach side, not the South Beach. The West Beach.
It goes along with guacamole and tacos.
Oh, yeah,
It sounds Hawaiian.
Sure, it does, doesn't it? And it's Hawaiian Jewish. I didn't know they had to go there.
okay. Picture taken.
Not sure, where are the girls? Home? They didn't want to come? They didn't want to come?
After school down.
Doug's gonna eat the whole damn thing, come on.
Yeah.
Once in a lifetime. I'll let you know how it is, folks.
It's pretty dangerous putting it over there.
That's the problem. You folks always sit in back. That's a mistake.
Don't worry about us though.
Yeah.
Certainly not about you. Yeah, we're pretty aggressive over there. Look like a recipe,
No dessert has ever gone unsampled, huh?
That's right.
All right, I understand.
I'm sure it's okay.
Anybody want more fruit?
Would you like more fruit, Martha?
Okay, currently we're in chapter 48 of Isaiah.
The new people get an extra helping, so
Oh, fine. That's just fine.
you're in luck.
Now with 48, I have started something a little different, and I hope it's beneficial. With every line of scripture, I generally give references down at the bottom like this. These references usually are in conjunction with the entire line of scripture. With these, with the newer ones now, you'll see a superscript by words. And these are a reference to this word in context here. In other words, the name of Israel, cross-referenced in. It says 1, Genesis 17:5. So instead of referring to the entire scripture, if it didn't have a number, it would be the entire scripture. If it has a number, it's referring to the particular word in context here. This particular tool is done by, let's see, what's the name of the Bible company? Zunder? Yes. Well, I got about 5 pronunciations. That's good. As long as you know what I'm talking about, we're communicating. They have a program called Pradis, P-R-A-D-I-S. And it is a basic Bible study program. It has very few features in it, but this is one of the features in it. When you look up scripture in it, it gives you this cross-reference. When I had a problem with my computer the other day, I was bringing up the Time Warner system to go online, and I clicked on the media system at the same time, and they ran into each other and stayed there, and